Takes about a week for it to get about 2 weeks fast, and I keep forgetting to reset it. But anyway, all right. Guys, welcome in. Let's get the Facebook streaming. And good deal. All right. Get them boys to repost X. Yeah, we're running behind today, brother. Running a little behind today. Darn it. It happens, right? Matt and Tanner. Cut that volume off. Guitars were so loud in here. Cut that volume down.
$20.
Roger that. Guys, Paul Markel joining us. We'll start your week out. Get you off to a Christmas week, ladies and gentlemen.
This is Armed American Radio's Daily Defense.
Armed American Radio's Daily Defense, because they don't want me to, that's why I do it.
Presented by the National Rifle Association. From the CZ Studios.
They're never going to stop us here.
Here is your host, the loudest conservative voice in America fighting the enemies of freedom, Mark Walters.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen, on a Friday. Armed American Radio's Daily Defense begins right now from the CZ Studios, busting out on dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of radio stations around the nation. Today, we welcome all of our great affiliates around the country, and we welcome you to this weekend, beginning the weekend. You know, you kick off your Christmas week. Of course, we're live today, and we'll be live for you on Sunday. And then, like many of you, we'll be taking some much-needed and deserved time off next week. We'll tell you about that later in the program. And, guys, we're in front of the Patriot Mobile Communication and Command Center microphone, all brought to you by the National Rifle Association. Greg in Dallas, how you doing, my brother?
TGI Friday, that's how I'm doing.
Yeah, and it was a busy day today leading up to the show. We're running a little bit behind schedule, but that's okay. You can, you know, I have said this, my mom and I were talking, but, you know, I've never been late to work in 17 years. You can't be late doing this job, not 30 seconds.
Well, you can't be late, but you know,
maybe others can. You know, maybe
there's a lot of times I've dealt with show hosts that are walking in as that open is playing.
Well, I've done that too. I almost did that today, as you know. We
had a cigar break that led into a show open that almost led to a moment, but
yeah, and that wasn't. Was that from me?
That was when you guys were in studio that one time. Y'all were out having the cigar break at the top of the hour.
Oh, that was when I was in Dallas at the network. Yep. With the doors locked behind us because we couldn't get back in on the middle of a Sunday show. It was kind of funny. Fortunately, Greg was able to handle that situation for us. Guys, we're live on Facebook for you, facebook.com/Armed American Radio, facebook.com/Armed American Radio. Greg, I'll let you, if anybody's watching us out there right now, I cut myself shaving a couple days ago, and I just started noticing it, and I haven't shaved.
Years?
Well, I haven't shaved because I'm going to cut it again, and it's, you know, so I'm just going to let it grow
I
for a
just
little
quit
bit.
Shaving.
Yeah, well, you did. I can never get past that third day. I start to itch. I try. I lose bets all the time. Greg, go ahead and fill us in on where to go to get the rest of the programs live and the app and the participation in the chat, and then we'll get cracking with Paul Markel to start your weekend, guys.
Yeah, sure. Other places to watch the show are YouTube and Rumble. Just do a search for Armed American Radio with Mark Walters. Over on X, we're at AAR Mark. You can head over to armedamericanradio.org or .com, hit that menu icon, then select your watch live or listen live option. And lastly, if you'd like to join our live chat, just download Telegram, create your profile, and search for Armed American Radio Conversations.
Heavens, it took forever. It's about time. Man, glad you got that. Paul Markel, Paul Markel, student of the gun. Welcome in, brother. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing all right. Are you hearing me clearly?
I am hearing you clear as a bell. Are you hearing me okay?
No, there's a ton of static. Every time you speak, I'm getting static in my ears.
Greg, should we have Paul call back and I can just kind of carry us through for a minute?
Yeah. Call back, Paul.
Go ahead and do
I'll
that,
call
Paul.
back.
All right, thanks, man. We're going to have Paul call back because we don't want Paul to have static. We don't want static, Paul. We want
It could be
Paul,
if he's
Paul.
using the headset. It could be that also. I don't know if he is, but it could be.
Okay, well, let me tell you what we're going to do today, ladies and gentlemen. I've got an audio clip from the Australian Prime Minister. We're going to do the best Aussie accent we can do today. It's really hard to say no the way they no, right? So we're gonna. I just listened to him speak, but guys, when we told you they were going to confiscate firearms again, Greg, do you think we were right or wrong?
Oh, I know we were right.
We got
I know
Paul
how
back.
those people are. Yeah, we got Paul.
Paul, how's that better?
No, it's not better at all.
It's on your end, Paul.
Do you have a headset or anything? Can you power through? Do you think? Because we can't hear any distractions.
We don't have any of
You're
that
the
on
only
our
one
end.
hitting that. But if you can power through, that's great. If not, I completely understand.
All right, let's see if the satellite clears itself up.
Okay, well, you never know. Maybe the NSA doesn't want you on the program today. Maybe we'll find out why, but just keep it FCC friendly, as you know. So, Paul, when we predicted that Australia was going to go for more gun control, sometimes it sucks being right all the time, but most of the time it doesn't. We've got a clip from the Australian Prime Minister. Now, he doesn't mention guns in this clip. I'm going to go into that after you hear this, because, Paul, what do the enemies of freedom, when they want to take away, they also start with your free speech, don't they?
Well, I mean, absolutely. Look at Jiminy Crickets. It's all the people. Mark, you're old like me, and
speak for yourself.
You remember the heady days of NATO.
Yep.
Right? And the West, and how they were fighting for, quote, freedom against the Soviet Union and the Warsaw Pact. Look at NATO members now. Look at the founding members of NATO. They're all socialists.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. They've done it to themselves.
They've all disarmed their people.
Mm-hmm.
They're arresting people for speech crime, and like NATO is a joke, And I don't know who was it? One of the congressmen put forward a bill to get us out of NATO, and I'm 100% for it. NATO is a joke. They're not for freedom.
No, and when we talk about socialism, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to listen to this clip, because now what they're doing in Australia, it's all tied into what Paul said. It all fits together. Well, when you see the Second Amendment Foundation, for example, fighting First Amendment cases, all right, like we did with the 3D printers, et cetera, when Defense Distributed, remember, Paul, was putting those plans up online as a free speech deal, in New Jersey, sued in Texas, and all kinds of nonsense. Guys, when we talk about hate speech, who determines that? Who gets to determine that? Well, guess what? The government in Australia is getting ready to determine that. And if I'm living there, the first thing I'm doing is pounding the table going, no, however they do that down there. Let's take a listen to this clip. Yeah, it's weird. It's hard to imitate that one. I did see somebody spell it the other day phonetically, and it worked. Naugher, and that's about right. Nair. Greg, if you would play the clip from the Aussie Prime Minister.
Today I'm announcing a significant number of additional actions to build on the plan. Firstly, the Attorney-General and Minister for Home Affairs will develop a package of legislative reforms to crack down on those who spread hate, division and radicalisation. The National Security Committee has agreed that changes will include the following 5 points. Agreed changes will include: 1. Aggravated hate speech offence for preachers and leaders who promote violence. Secondly, increased penalties for hate speech promoting violence. Thirdly, making hate an aggravating factor in sentencing crimes for online threats and harassment. Fourthly, developing a regime for listing organisations whose leaders engage in hate speech promoting violence or racial hatred. And fifthly, developing a narrow federal offence for serious vilification based on race and or advocating racial supremacy. The Minister for Home Affairs will also have new powers to cancel or reject visas for those who spread hate and division in this country or would do so if they were allowed to come here. ISIS ideology, a terrorist ideology of hate that has been around for some time. So I, of course, acknowledge that more could have been done, and I accept my responsibility for the part in that as Prime Minister of Australia. But what I also do is accept my responsibility to lead the nation and unite the nation.
All right, Paul.
Whatever.
Yeah, whatever. Okay, here's the deal. On the surface, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know any better, you'd think, well, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with criminalizing hate speech in Australia? What's wrong with that? The problem you have is this builds upon itself, ladies and gentlemen. Look at what's happening in Great Britain, Paul, right now, today.
Oh, yeah.
They're going after you for saying anything that they want to go after you for online. They're arresting people and jailing people. Now, Australia's going to move down that path. But, ladies and gentlemen, the interesting part, and Greg, I think we've probably got, about 30 seconds left in this segment? Thereabouts? Yeah, about thereabouts. 50 seconds. Paul, I'll just take this to the break, okay, so I don't have to cut you off. What you didn't hear in that clip was that was a follow-up to his announcement of gun confiscation, where they're now going to take hundreds of thousands of weapons off the streets in Australia right now. They shouldn't have been there to begin with. Even though since 1996, those hundreds of thousands of guns on the streets in Australia haven't hurt anybody, until a team of wacko terrorists, father and son, decide to wreak havoc. Now the rest of the country, with what guns they have left, is going to pay the price. This is not a free nation, ladies and gentlemen, by any stretch. When you can't speak your mind, even as vile as it may be, you are not free. When you cannot be trusted by your government as a law-abiding citizen with a gun of your choice, you are not free. And Australia is going farther down the road to make sure that its subjects are no longer free. We'll be back with Paul Markel, student of the gun, right after this. 10 seconds, ladies and gentlemen. Coming back right now. And I don't know why I have that particular band up. Let's take that down right now, shall we? How about that one? Silly me.
The following segment of Armed American Radio's Daily Defense is being brought to you by Patriot Mobile. Visit patriotmobile.com/AAR and use the AAR promo code to get free activation today. Welcome back to the show.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be one of those days. The text up on the video screen was Armed American Radio will be back at 6 minutes after the hour. Well, if you're watching your clock, it's not 6 minutes after the hour for sure. Anyway, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Armed American Radio's Daily Defense continues from the CZ studios today. We're just anxious to get the weekend going. We are, and a lot of us have plans with our family, like I hope you do as well, coming up this week. And if those of you that work for the federal government, it's going to stretch to a lot of private businesses. Trump just signed an executive order making Wednesday and Friday federal holidays, so you can get that 5-day weekend there. Hopefully your company does that too, and it doesn't cost you any time outs. There you go. CZ Studios lit up. Patriot Mobile bringing this to you right now. We're at the Patriot Mobile microphone at the Patriot Mobile Command Center. My kids are meeting with Patriot Mobile out in Phoenix, Arizona today at the America Fest. They had a great time yesterday, and they're going to have another great time today, and we're enjoying watching them on television having some fun, and they're meeting with some really cool people. And maybe you have family out there as well too, and if so, I hope they're enjoying it like the other tens of thousands that are out there right now. Paul Markel, student of the gun, welcome back in, my brother from another mother. So you heard that the free speech, okay, you heard my closing remarks at the segment, and now they're going for gun confiscation. We're going to go into that in greater detail. But first, I want to hear what you have to say about the free speech issue before we move over to the confiscation, which is coming, ladies and gentlemen. It's on its way.
Well, it all ties together, but what really makes me sad is that the citizens of a nation, and we're largely to blame, at least in the blue states and blue cities, are so comfortable with their government using terrorism, engaging in terrorism. What is the definition of terrorism, Mark? The use of violence or the threat of violence
for a political cause.
Exactly, in order against civilians, in order to further a political agenda or cause. So you're like, he's not using terrorism. Like, that's the exact definition. Mm-hmm. The exact definition of terrorism is the use of force against a civilian population to further a political agenda.
Paul, can Islamic terrorism ever be stopped around the globe, particularly in countries that have destroyed their own culture by allowing mass immigration, such as Australia and the UK or anywhere in Europe?
Let's face it, these guys were acting essentially on behalf of Canberra. That's the capital, right? They're acting on their behalf. It's no different than Gavin Newsom running out after his bajillion gun control
failures.
All of his gun control fails, and he's like, well, we need more. Okay, definition of insanity. And I'm actually preparing an article about the gun culture, and there are some people, specifically in the Northern Territory, who are like saying no. But you don't have, that's nice that there are people saying no, but when we saw this with New Zealand, when the Prime Minister orders the Parliament to give him a bill to sign, there's no separation of powers there. That's like when that skinny hag in New Zealand ordered, the Parliament to give her a bill to take away people's guns, and so they did. Can you imagine? At least in the United States, whether it's Trump or Bush or Obama or whoever, if the president would go out and order Congress, say, I am commanding you, I am hereby instructing you to send me this bill, and I'm going to sign it, and we're going to get rid of all these guns. At very least in the United States, there's enough people that would say, No.
Yeah, that don't go around here, Law Dog, because what that does is destroys the parliamentarian process. It destroys the legislative process in this particular country, ladies and gentlemen, or parliament, whatever they are down there. Okay? They're non-existent. They're just figureheads. Well, the same thing in Canada. They're just figureheads. I'm demanding a bill, and they get the bill. And meanwhile, many of the people can stand up and pound the table and go, no, 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 all day long, and nothing happens. Because, ladies and gentlemen, they are not free. Let's continue this conversation down this road. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has announced a national buyback scheme for firearms to, quote unquote, get more guns off our streets following the Bondi Beach massacre. Speaking at a press conference in Canberra on Friday, most people don't know that's the capital. They would think Sydney. People don't pay attention, but that's okay. It's down yonder way. Albanese said the scheme would buy surplus, newly banned, and illegal firearms. The government would introduce legislation to help with the funding of the scheme and meet the cost with states and territories. We expect hundreds of thousands of firearms to be collected and destroyed through this scheme, the Prime Minister added. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go back to that. Newly banned and illegal firearms. Do you know what that means, Paul? That means they're going to create a new list of banned guns, whatever it is they want to ban, for cosmetic reasons, and then they're going to confiscate those guns. Now, they say they're going to pay you something. That's forced confiscation, ladies and gentlemen, period. And it will be championed, make no mistake, Paul, it will be championed by American gun grabbers over the course of the next few days as this begins to play out, and they will begin telling us that we need to start looking at what Hillary Clinton herself said. And not just Hillary Clinton, but that, what's-her-face, Kamala Harris said, that we should be looking at the Australian model. Paul, it's coming. Mark my word.
You mean the Australian model that locked their citizens in COVID internment camps against their will?
Oh, there's that.
You mean that model?
Yeah, well, yeah, that's part of the model. Lock your citizens down, show that you can do it, take away their firearms, and take away their free speech under the guise of it being hate speech, ladies and gentlemen. But who will determine
safety.
that? They will, for your own safety. They are not free down under. They're not free down under. No, they're not free down under, Paul.
Yeah, the mere fact that they allowed themselves that they did not rebel against the tyrants, the fact that this Albanese guy is still in power, let's face facts. Everybody who's in power in the former NATO allied countries, UK, New Zealand, Australia, Canada, they're all figureheads. They're all puppets that have been installed by either the World Bank or at the behest of the World Bank. These people think that they are free. They think that they're allowed to vote and that they choose. It's a sham. It's a sham.
They don't know what freedom is. And look, Australia started as a penal colony. Okay? It was housing European criminals, folks. So, look, this is not, sadly, you are witnessing a very modern, fairly wealthy, Western, civilized nation bury itself, literally bury itself. And it is sad to watch. However, just like New York City, they've earned it. They get it. They voted for it. They don't seem to mind it. When we come back, 2 more segments with the great Paul Markel, student of the gun, the professor we refer to him as. We'll be back right after the break. Armed American Radio's Daily Defense continues, and you are on the Armed American Radio Network. Back after this.
The following segment of Armed American Radio is proudly being brought to you by the National Rifle Association. Help us defend freedom by visiting nra.org/AAR and join today. Welcome back to the show.
Yeah, welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. 2 more segments on a Friday as we begin the kickoff of what I hope you are expecting to be a fantastic Christmas week anywhere across the country, wherever you happen to be. We love each and every one of you and wish you the best coming up over this weekend. Of course, we'll be live on the broadcast for you on Sunday. Greg and I will be talking after the show to figure out next week, but look for some best ofs and so forth. We might have a guest host in or so. But we're going to, like you, we're going to try and take some time off as we do at the end of the year. We've figured out how to do that. But in the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, we need your help. This fight never ends. And I'm going to tell you right now, what we're talking about Australia, this is what they have in mind for you here. You mark my words. They're going to be all of the American gun grabbers are going to be going after the Australian model. That's coming up. You're going to see that without fail. And we'll likely be able to quote some of that for you on Sunday. If not, maybe Monday or Tuesday next week. But regardless, it's coming. So how do you fight it? Join the National Rifle Association. All we need is your membership. Give us 1 year, $35. Won't you please use that AAR promo code? Figure it's a Christmas gift to me from you, okay? We need your help out there, ladies and gentlemen. We have to have you on the rolls. We've got to rebuild the National Rifle Association, and we are doing that. And I appreciate you stepping up and giving us that time. If you can go for 3 years or 5 years like I did, it's dirt cheap. It's $125 for 5 years. We'll save you $500 on a life membership from $1,500 to $1,000. Take advantage of these opportunities, okay? And visit the National Rifle Association at nra.org/AAR. nra.org/AAR. And take advantage of that. Go over to the NRA HQ website, use the AAR promo code, and sign up for us. It's right there on the webpage. You can just click on the link at our site at armedamericanradio.com. And you still have time. You've got to act quick. But you can put some fast shipping in there. You know, FedEx is pretty good at that stuff. Get you some goat guns. Get some gifts. Do all that fun stuff. Check out budsgunshop.com and pick up some ammo. Help these companies out. And I am very proud to announce today, and I wasn't sure I was going to do this today, but I am, but we are welcoming Blackout Coffee as a partner with us to Armed American Radio. You're going to start hearing some rejoins and hearing some spots from them. We're going to be able to save you 20% on that great product as well. Yes, Blackout Coffee, we welcome them, and we'll be making a big announcement, you know, when we really kick it off, likely Sunday. We'll see, but you're going to start hearing them, and we're so thrilled and honored and proud to be working with the great crew over there at Blackout Coffee as well. Paul Markel, student of the gun, welcome back in, my brother. So the confiscation, Paul, as I mentioned, again, and I'll wrap this up with you now. I'll give you the final word on Australia. But what we're getting ready to see over there is exactly what we predicted. We knew it was going to come. The American gun grabbers are going to jump all over this, Paul. Go ahead and close out Australia for us, and we'll go from there.
Well, it just proves what we've been talking about for literally years and years and years now, ever since we turned our microphones on, is that when it comes to gun control, they will never get enough. There will never be enough. They will never have it and say, okay, that's good. And that's the psycho weakness that we've seen. We saw it in Colorado a few years ago, where they're like, well, I know this isn't good, but, you know, when Lickenbottom signed the magazine capacity thing and sent Magpul up into Wyoming, I heard some people saying, well, I know it's not good, but at least now they'll leave us alone. How long did that last?
Well, if it saves just one life, if it saves you, the problem is, ladies and gentlemen, it does none of that. Paul, who are the only people that pay attention to a gun law? Who are the only people that are affected by a gun law?
The people that weren't going to commit murder anyway.
Correct. It only affects you, ladies and gentlemen. It does not affect a criminal. It certainly doesn't impact Muslim terrorists.
And I kind of got sidetracked, but no, I'm working on an article, and I was actually doing research and going back. And you remember the London, nobody talks about it, but in 2017, the London Bridge terrorist attack, where there were no guns. Yep. They rented a truck and started running people over, and then when they eventually crashed, they jumped out and started stabbing people. But they've got all these wonderful gun laws. And, folks, Australia will eventually be Great Britain. all of the major cities in Australia will be overrun by these foreign invaders, and it's deliberate. It's purposeful. It's 100% purposeful. You know, criminals and terrorists are the best friend of the tyrant. Mm-hmm. They're the tyrant and the dictator's best friend. And something that I'm going to go ahead and say that Albanese, that he knows, and that Fidel Castro's illegitimate son knows, and whoever the bag of whatever, I'll keep it. I know some people like to cry on your show, but that scumbag that's in charge of Great Britain, here's what they all know, and it's what we've been saying, but they know it. And it's an old adage, and it's been around for a long time, and it goes something like this. You can vote yourself into socialism, but you have to shoot your way out.
Yeah, it could be because you cannot vote yourself out, ladies and gentlemen, once they have power. It's impossible to do.
They know that. Mm-hmm. Canada, UK, New Zealand, Australia, they know that. The dictatorial tyrant governments understand that you can convince people to vote for socialism because you can just lie to them and promise them free crap. And then once they realize they were lied to and deceived and their lives stink now, it's too late. Yeah. They can't vote themselves out of it.
And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? They also can't shoot their way out because their guns have been taken. And don't think for 2 seconds that Albanese is not aware of that. Look, this sounds awful to say, but I'm going to say it because it's likely very true. And the reason I say it's true is because, ladies and gentlemen, we've seen the American gun grabbers in action. Think Biden, think Obama, think any Democrat administration. Think any Democrat in office, in any position of power, whether it's the House of Representatives, whether it's the U.S. Senate, makes no difference. Think of Democrats that sit behind robes at the bench. Every single time they have an opportunity, they bring out their gun control playbook. They feed off of tragedy. And that's exactly what Albanese was doing in Australia. Make no mistake. We saw the same thing in New Zealand, very close to the Australians. New Zealand did the same thing. Oh, and this sounds terrible, but they're waiting for something like that to happen so that they can pounce. And guys, don't think for 2 seconds that they don't have a strategic plan. They do. And this is the opportunity that they can seize on right now because they know they have dumbed the population down. Enough of their people are disarmed to a point that they have no choice but to buy into what these socialists are selling. And they are leaving that population now completely disarmed. People will go to prison in Australia that don't turn in their firearms. Now, Paul, all I can tell you is that's what they want for us here. We know that. We've pounded this drum for years. How many more times do we have to see this before we admit to ourselves we're right? We already know that, Paul.
That's why it's so important for you to be active. I don't say you just pimp the NRA, but NRA, 2AF, GOA, ASA, Firearms Policy Coalition, whatever. You got to be involved. You have to scare that's why the Democrats always bring up the NRA, and that's why they send their minions out in the media to attack the NRA. NRA has blood on its hands, because they're afraid of them, and they should be. We need for these scumbags to be afraid of our organizations.
And guys, you put fear in them by joining them. The more of us that join, the more fearful they become. The bigger the NRA gets, the bigger the FPC gets, the bigger the Second Amendment Foundation gets, the bigger Virginia Citizens Defense League gets, the bigger Florida Carry gets. The bigger, whatever your state right organization is, the bigger it gets, the more afraid they become. Because they know that our power comes from us. Really, what is it? We the people. They understand that. They know that. They're very well funded. They get it. Armed American Radio's Daily Defense. We've got one more segment to knock out with Paul Markel, student of the gun. A couple other issues we want to talk about. And we'll go there as soon as we come back from the break. And then, like you, we're going to start our weekend. And what is hopefully we're all looking forward to a great Christmas holiday weekend all across this beautiful country. We'll be back right after this. Don't go away. One more segment with Paul.
This segment is brought to you by Attorneys on Retainer. Get the only self-defense program for gun owners backed by a real law firm, the Attorneys for Freedom. Visit them online at attorneysonretainer.us. Welcome back.
Guys, if you don't have this card, we are getting down to the wire for 2025, which is really hard to believe. But we are getting down to the wire, okay? Less than 20 days, ladies and gentlemen, left. 15 days, quite frankly, less than that to pick this up. The price is going to go up a little bit. It's $35 a month right now. It's not going to be exorbitant. It's not going to be impossible for you. But guess what? It is going to go up. Everybody's costs are rising a little bit. They're going to keep it good for you and keep it real for you, and it's still an incredible bargain. Why not get the bargain now and hold on to it until 2030? Just do it. Use the AAR promo code, attorneysonretainer.us. AAR is the promo code, okay? And then we'll be telling you more and more about the conference coming up in February. You'll hear me talk about that in greater detail on the Sunday Monster Cast. I went into a little bit of detail there yesterday, but there's so many bullet points it would take a full segment. And maybe we'll do that with one of the attorneys, because I want you to go. I want you to come out and hang out with me. I want you to hang out with AWR. I want you to hang out with Kwong Win. I want you to hang out with Alan Gottlieb. I want you to hang out with Jared Yanis. Come hang out with us at the meeting, and it's all for members, okay? But the most important thing is, if you have to use a firearm, God forbid, you are going to need an attorney. And $35 a month for a team of up to 4 attorneys. The cost won't go up. It's not $35 per attorney. If you have to go to trial, it's $35 a month, period. Take advantage of these amazing opportunities. Attorneysonretainer.us. The promo code, of course, is AAR. You can visit them and all of our great sponsors at armedamericanradio.com. Get some shopping out of the way. Get her done. Get her done. Get her done. And I do want to say this, Greg, on another very sad note. Greg brought this up during the break. I became very, very close friends with a number of NASCAR teams as a result of my work at Armed American Radio. A lot of NASCAR teams listen to this program and have for many years. I've been very fortunate to be a guest at the pits, in the crew box at Talladega, at Kentucky, at Atlanta, and others. And guys, and I had met Greg Biffle. I don't believe I've met his family, but I know members of those teams. And what happened with him and his family yesterday was just absolutely horrific, and my heart goes out to them, particularly at this time of year. The entire family, Biffle's entire family was killed in that plane crash. And to all of you in NASCAR that are listening to the program, man, I love you guys, and I thank you so much for what you've done for me personally, my family, and for this show over the years, and all of your wonderful support. Our hearts go out to you at NASCAR. It's a horrible, horrible, horrible situation. Paul Markel, student of the gun, welcome back in, brother. So I want to take you somewhere I didn't tell you I was going to go, but I want you to hear this. As you know, I'm a member of the board of directors of the Citizens Committee for the Right to Keep and Bear Arms, with Alan Gottlieb as the chairman, a sister organization to the Second Amendment Foundation. And they put a press release out today, earlier this morning. The Citizens Committee for the Right to Keep and Bear Arms is cheering the 2-1 ruling by a panel of Fifth Circuit U.S. Court of Appeals, which overturned the gun law conviction of a Mississippi man who had earlier been placed on 5 years probation for failing to pay child support. Now, guys, many of you might not know this, but any crime punishable by over a year in prison can cost you your gun rights for the rest of your life, regardless of what that crime may be. Edward Cockerham had pled guilty for failing to pay child support in violation of Mississippi law. He pled guilty, he owned it, and it could have resulted in a 5-year prison term, but he was sentenced to 5 years of probation. And Paul, he eventually paid the child support, was released from probation, but federal law stripped him of his Second Amendment rights because he was convicted of a crime for which the sentence could be more than 1 year behind bars. And as noted in the opinion authored by Judge James Ho, a Donald Trump appointee, and this is why judges and why the president matters, ladies and gentlemen, said this: so there's no historical justification to disarm this man at the moment, never mind for the rest of his life. Paul.
No, there's a lot of backdoor gun control that most people don't realize is going on out there. And they couch it in, with something like that. They're like, oh, well, this guy's obviously a bad dad. Like, as somebody who was a police officer and had to deal with both sides, our court system just does horrible things to men. Mm-hmm. just because they're men. And I'll give you another great example. The Lautenberg Amendment is completely unconstitutional. And for those of you that don't know, it turns a domestic violence misdemeanor into a life sentence of disarmament. And, you know, I mean, when I was a police officer, you know, I had one particular case of, 19 and 20-year-old, 19-year-old girl, 20-year-old guy. They get into a domestic violence misdemeanor, right? The prosecutor convinces the dude to just go ahead and plead, right? Oh, just go ahead and plead, and we'll get your probation, and and no big deal. We'll just clean this up. You think a 20-year-old kid deserves to be disarmed for life?
Of course not.
Over a misdemeanor?
No, of course not. And Paul, as you know, the Trump administration and the DOJ are now working on restoring gun rights to many folks. And here's the interesting part about this and how this kind of ties together, ladies and gentlemen. I hate to ask you to do this. If you're not on X, formerly known as Twitter, by God, don't go there if you don't need it. It's a cesspool, and you don't need to be there. However, if you're already there, I want you to follow Chris Murphy. And I want you to listen to the lies that come out of this man's mouth post after post after post. And what he's doing is he's now spending a lot of time jawboning about how Trump wants to give all these violent felons their gun rights back. It could not be further from the truth, ladies and gentlemen. We're talking about situations like this. Now, many of you listening are men. Most of you listening are men. And maybe some of you have found yourself in a situation in a nasty divorce and found yourself in a child support situation. Your business goes south. The court has ordered you to pay X amount of dollars, Paul, based on what your income was at that time. Maybe your business goes south. Maybe you become disabled. Maybe you lose your job. Whatever the case may be. You can be railroaded in court. I don't know this guy's background, but this guy pled guilty. He owned up to it. He paid it off and got off probation. And Paul faced a lifetime of disarmament when he did what he was supposed to do. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm of the mindset when you complete your sentence, whatever that sentence is, you should be able to get your gun rights back. It's that simple, Paul.
Right. Now, how is that not cruel and unusual punishment?
Well, it is in my estimation, but that's in my estimation and yours. Okay? You know, the American
There's prohibition
left.
against that in the Constitution. Yeah.
And there is. So, Paul, we're getting ready to take a break.
Ready.
And AWR is calling right now. His timing is off by about 60 seconds. But we'll get to him in just a minute. Too bad he didn't call earlier. Maybe we could have brought him on air. Paul, where can people find you and do all that cool stuff? Because my son, as you know, tell people where to go to get that training. Mike is yours. Take it to the
All right. So the enrollment is open right now at Student of the University. Go to sotgu.com and sign up for our distance learning program, the pistol class, rifle class, lots of stuff. Use the promo code AAR, save 15% on your tuition. But get it done before January 1st because that's when the open enrollment closes.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it. And here I'm going to leave you with this. We'll see you on Sunday's Monstercast Live. It's going to be a great program. They always are. I'll talk with Greg. We'll see what we're going to do next week. Expect some encores. Expect maybe a guest host, whatever the case may be. Like you, we're going to try to take some time off. And I'm going to play so much guitar, my fingers and my ears are bleeding, and my neighbors cannot stand me. It's going to be so loud and beautiful. I can't wait to do so. Enjoy your day. Enjoy the start of your weekend and your Christmas holiday. I love each and every one of you. Stay safe out there. We'll see you on the radio Sunday. Yeah, well, we're out of time. Have a great weekend, guys.
You just filled your prescription for freedom with Mark Walters, presented by the National Rifle Association. The National Rifle Association on the Armed American Radio Network.
There you go, guys. That's that. Somebody had texted me and wanted to know what that shirt was. PRS guitars. Those are Paul Reed Smith guitars. Got one sitting right behind me. I've got another one in the house. And we're going to turn them up here in just a minute. That's exactly what we're going to do. All right, guys, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy your weekend. And hopefully, like me, you're going to take a little bit of time off and spend some quality time with your family. We will see you back live on Armed American Radio's Monstercast on Sunday, which will be our real official kickoff because Sunday is the start of our week. So you guys take care of yourselves. I love you. Please visit all of our partners. Join the NRA. Pick up an attorney for $35 a month, a team of attorneys for $35 a month. Visit Goat Guns. We'll have more information about Blackout Coffee. We'll have a discount for you for 20%. You're going to be able to take great advantage of that. BudsGunShop.com, Crossbreed Holsters, Patriots Relief. Get some of these great products that support this program. Patriot Mobile. Flip a phone over there like I did and support the businesses that keep us on air and will continue to keep us on air through 2026. We need your support there, and that's how you do it. You support our partners. Thank you so much for everything. Love you guys, and I'll see you on the radio on Sunday. Have a great and a safe weekend.